So I want to talk about this, and it could go left. It could go left,
Yes.
but I don't want it to go left because I don't mean it from the perspective of the conjecture and what have you. But when we talk about legacy, and I think about Kobe, I feel like Kobe was one of those people who gave basketball what basketball needed.
And you have to explain what you mean
Meaning,
by that.
in order to be great in basketball, in order to be among the greatest, like top 3, top 5, whatever, then there's a certain lifestyle that comes with that. Larry Bird, before he went to his first class, shot 500 shots, free throws, before he went to his first class of school. So there's a level of greatness that the great have that a lot of people don't understand. And you don't give the thing that you want to be great at what you have. You give it what it needs. And if you don't have it, you go get it. And then you bring it back to it, and that's how you're great. So if you spend 75% or whatever, I don't want to mess up percentages here. When I think about Kobe, I saw an article when he said, I don't have a whole lot of friends. He said, because I don't put all the energy into managing relationships like that. He gave everything to basketball.
Yeah.
So when I think about myself as a father, Kobe was a father, I think about, I'm not Kobe, let's be clear. I think about the fact that I want to be great at some things too, but I'm also a father, I'm also a husband. And I don't know if, see, this is where it goes left, and I don't really want it to go left. You got to help me with this. I don't want it to be said that I was great at this unless you can also say I was great at this. But I don't know, meaning family and husband and stuff. But I don't know if both of those can exist in the same world. So if I'm thinking about the legacy that I want to leave, I want that legacy definitely to be the men that I impact with Man Up.
Yes.
But also, I wanted to be that I was a great husband, I was a great father, and I was there and I was present. I don't know if both of those can exist in the same world.
Well, I think, Katie, where you might be challenging yourself is that instead of allowing Kobe Bryant's journey and his story to challenge you to evaluate your own, I think you're trying to compare it. So I think the difference is to allow his legacy, his journey, and his story to challenge KD to pause his life long enough to define what legacy means to you. Not trying to understand what legacy meant to Kobe Bryant, but just knowing his life, seeing the impact, you pausing, Robin pausing, to say, what does legacy mean to me? And then intentionally, like you said, Kobe Bryant, you read an article that said, I don't have any friends. I don't have a lot of friends. He determined that when he looked at the values of his life, what was most valuable to him. And we don't know what his conversation was with his wife. We don't know what he sat down and had with his children. But what we can do is look at his life and say, now what I'm going to do is pause my life long enough to define it for me. I shared with you that I attended the funeral of Mrs. Lois Evans. I attended Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship all of my life until I came here to Atlanta. So she is not just a far-off mentor. She was somebody that I looked to, Dr. Tony Evans' wife. After I left her funeral, I made a decision that I was going to be a different mother. I was going to be a different wife. I was going to be a different first lady because of how I saw her legacy. I can't live my life like hers, but it caused me to pause and reevaluate my own. So I think if we're careful not to compare, but to just evaluate. So my question to you from a therapeutic standpoint would be, Katie, how do you define legacy? How do you define greatness?
Well, I think it's the things that I create. It's the impact that I've made. Again, that's with Man Up and the impact and the lives that I change along the way. But it is also the legacy that I leave for my children.
Yeah.
Good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So I got to make money to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
And yes, of course, my presence as well. But my challenge is, I don't know if it's comparison, and I may be comparing. But I don't want to be disillusioned about what greatness demands. Greatness in the area.
And greatness based on definition.
Okay, so my thing of greatness is when you talk about Man Up community, and the people that have been a part of it, when you walk along with them, what impact have they made as it relates to the impact that I made on them?
Ooh.
That's not enough?
That was pretty good, though. I like that. That was pretty good. Okay. But listen.
Do what I can.
So when I'm looking at, let me personalize this. When I'm looking at my life and I think about what is the story I want to be told, there's a story that's being written. What is the story that I want to be told? When my children, I tease my daughters all the time and I say, when y'all go sit on your therapist's couch, what you gonna tell them about me? When they are telling their story, what is the story that I hope that they tell? So when I think about Robin's legacy, Katie, you know I am obsessed with empowering women and equipping couples. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it.
Are you really obsessed though?
Oh, I am. Based on my person, my passion. But that cannot, for me, it does sometimes, hear me, because I'm not trying to present like I have it all together. It does sometimes, but I don't want it to override where I place my husband and my children. So there are times when I sense that I'm off balance. There are times when I recognize, hold on, I've told my kids to go out of my room one time too many because I'm working on this new project for When Girls Gather or for I Believe in Marriage. So I have to stop and assess and make sure. I think the idea of balance sometimes is a little warped.
So for the person that doesn't do that, is it safe for me to say or assume that they're not wrong? That's just, they haven't put
the person
that,
who doesn't do what?
The person doesn't do what you say, find that balance. Okay, both of them are important. I'm just putting more of my energy over here. The person that does that, if that's their value system, if, like, say, for instance, Kobe, and I'm not saying Kobe, but what if it's Kobe? I want to be the greatest in the world.
Yes.
So that means I'm not going to be home as much as I would like to be.
Yes.
Y'all would like me to be. But listen, my value system says I need to give this 75, 80% of my time.
Okay, so let me go here and just throw this out here just because I have to. They're not wrong. Let me throw this out here really quick. I believe it's unhealthy for any of us to live on isolation island. You know that. I believe that we have to make sure that we're getting wise counsel as we are building our life. Listen, you're building your life brick by brick, whether you're doing it intentionally or not. So if you're building your life, you want to make sure you have some wise counsel around you. But I do believe, Katie, what you value is completely different from what I value. How I build my life is going to be different than how, let's look at another woman. Right now in this season of my life, I speak. But the way my family dynamic works, I cannot be out of my house every weekend somewhere speaking. I have to be able to regulate that because of how I value things. Another woman, I can't judge her if she doesn't have that value system. I believe slow your life down long enough to be clear about what you value and the legacy you're building, and make sure that it is in line with what matters most to you.
Makes sense to me. All right. Thank you.